Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and inspire joy. Be empowered to balance your mental, physical, financial, aspirational, and social health while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. Joy, and I'm here to help you transform life's challenges into opportunities for joy. Let's begin the journey together. All right. Happy Thanksgiving week. We are in episode 74, Grateful, Not Guilt-Ridden, Embracing Your Journey as a Wife and a Mom. Because we have all these duties as a wife and a mom, including work and friends and lots of different things that come our way. There are times where we feel guilty. Lots of times where we feel guilty because we're comparing ourselves to other people. And since it is Thanksgiving week, we usually talk about gratefulness and being grateful. So let's change that guilt into gratefulness. And actually, in general, gratitude is just such a great feeling, a great mood, a great thing to use and to do in order to make sure you continue to have joy in the face of stress. And I tell you, have I had many opportunities to be grateful this week? And when I say that, that is because there's been a lot of challenges. And usually, when challenges come about, that is your ability to be able to exercise and practice your patience, your gratitude, your resilience, and grow stronger and build on those lessons. I mean, just Monday, it was my husband's birthday, and we spent the evening in the ER because we actually thought he was having a heart attack. He was not. So I'm very grateful. Of course, that's the last place he wanted to spend his birthday, but we were grateful that it wasn't worse. And we were grateful that we had already celebrated his birthday on Sunday, the day before his birthday. So it was kind of like, well, we already celebrated. Might as well spend it in the ER. Woohoo. And actually, my hair is a sign of how busy I've been because it's actually a for real wash and go. You know, usually wash and goes, you get out of the shower and you put lots of product in it for a wash and go. This is a legit washed it and went because I never had time to put any product or twist in it because I was supposed to have a twist out. I love my twist outs in the winter, but I digress. That's just a sign of how busy it's been. And then yesterday, just different challenges, just something as simple as like I pulled out of the driveway and I broke the garage door. No, the garage door was not closed. That's exactly what my husband, what did you do? I like the garage door was wide open, but like there's like this string or something hanging from it. And I guess it got caught onto the car. So as I'm coming out, I'm pulling the garage door with me. What? So then we had to get that fixed, but we were grateful that we were able to find someone right away to come out within a couple of hours to fix the garage, and now it's fixed. And grateful that it didn't cost that much. Of course, we would have wanted to use that money for something else, but that's all right. And then today, lots of things on the list to be grateful for. However, the challenge was that the water heater decided to break or whatever the terminology is, and there was water in the basement. Third time our house having a flood. But guess what? We're grateful to be homeowners and grateful to have these homeowner problems. No water all day, just hanging in the house without water, but we're grateful to be able to learn how to cook food without water. But yeah, and that's just the thing. I'm saying it in a sarcastic tone, but no, I really do genuinely feel grateful, right? So, I'm happy I have my family. I'm happy that these challenges aren't breaking us down, right? And that we're able to get through them. And you don't end up becoming numb to challenges, but you end up at least being desensitized to, some challenges. And you're just like, okay, that's all right. I got it. So when you are practicing gratitude so quickly and so easily and so readily and so automatically, when a challenge comes, it's just kind of like, you know what? I'm just grateful we have the money to pay for it. You know what? We don't have the money, but I'm glad that we're able to get the money from this resource to be able to pay for it, whatever the situation may be. So that is gratitude in general. So we are thinking about Thanksgiving, giving thanks, and practicing gratitude despite challenges. So that's my little bit on that. But of course, we're talking about grateful, not guilt ridden when it comes to you as a wife and you as a mom. So, what are some reasons why we might have some guilt when it comes to being a wife and a mom? Number one, I mean, my number one and number two are kind of interchangeable. I don't know if this is really in any particular order. It's just the order that I'm going to say it. But why we're guilty, not spending enough time with the kids. Yeah, we give ourselves that mom guilt. Why aren't we spending time with the kids? Well, it might be because we're working. It might be because we're spending time with our spouse. It might be because something else is calling our attention, such as housework or doing something outside of the house. We got to drop the kids off to be seen by someone else, or we have to have a babysitter, and we're just like, oh my God, I'm not spending enough time with the kids. One of my mom guilts is that I don't think I'm educating them enough. Like, I read to my toddler at night, but I'm not like sitting there like a teacher and saying, okay, ABCs, okay, let's write the ABCs. And his teacher said, hey, make sure you go through this stuff with them. And I'm like, really? I'm supposed to do that? That's what I'm paying you for as the teacher. But apparently we have to do that as parents. And, I see all these advertisements about Montessori equipment and toys and educational things that you can have for your kids. And I feel like I've got that in the beginning, but I don't spend time with them. But that's what some of my guilt is. I'm like, oh, I think I'm supposed to be spending more education. And I'm a child psychiatrist, and here I am saying that, right? So I'm just like, I guess I'm supposed to be spending more time with them as far as educational wise. So that's one of the things. Another thing, and this goes with the mom and the wife guilt, is if I'm spending time with my friends, or I've been doing a lot of like self-care talks, I've been doing a lot of book appearances, brunches, and things like that. I'm just like, oops, am I spending too many Saturdays away from my family? So, that guilt comes in like that. Or if I need to exercise, if I need to get on the treadmill at night, and I guess that's why I do it at night, so that they're asleep already, so it actually works out. But if I need to go and get away in the middle of the day, I'm like, oops, maybe I shouldn't leave the kids with my husband. Maybe I should be taking care of my husband, right? So there's that reason why you feel like you need to be there for your kids instead of somebody else, that guilt that you might have about being away from them. Even last night, because I feel like I have this mental list or schedule of what I do at night. And I try to have the quality time with each child. There's a little bit of guilt because I don't feel like I get that quality time with my 1-year-old, but I feel like I get some good quality time with my 4-year-old, where we have this nice full bed routine because my husband puts the 1-year-old to bed. So that's nice. We kind of, tag team it there. So we have this full routine. And even just last night, I was telling him, like, okay, we got to hurry up. I got to get you down because after you go down, I got to get on the treadmill. Then I got to have my one-on-one with 13-year-old. Then I got to have hubby time. So I'm like, oh my God, it's 8 p.m. and I still got all these things to do, just so I'm making sure that my kids have time, that one-on-one quality time, that I get my self-care. And, it's a nice little schedule, but there's some guilt in there. The reason why I feel like I have to do all those things. Sometimes the guilt is there to help you make sure you're doing the right thing. But then if the guilt is too much, it can strain you mentally, make you feel isolated, make you feel depressed, anxious. And if you already have a mental health disorder that you're dealing with, it can make your mental health even worse. So that's why we have to change our guilt to gratitude. But that leads into why we're guilty, number two, because we feel like we're not prioritizing our marriage. And I feel like I prioritize my marriage, but of course I still get the guilt sometimes, especially when I'm doing brunches and things like that, or doing things for work. I try to confine the work between the 9 to 5 during the work week, as opposed to weekends and evenings. But then times like this, when I'm with you guys, it's the evening and I'm not there doing the bedtime routine because I'm here with you all. But there's not too much guilt because I was with the kids all day, right? So if you feel like you've already fed into them, that rids you of that guilt too. But those are just reasons why we might have the mom and wife guilt. A couple months ago, my husband doesn't even know this. So if you're watching now, you're going to know. I told my mom and sister and BFF, I was like, I have finally found the cure to wife guilt. And that cure was letting him go to Utah for 5 days to run a marathon. Because when he got back, I was not, I did not feel guilty for leaving him with the kids. I couldn't remember where I went. I just remember leaving and not feeling guilty and leaving him with the kids. I was like, you were just gone for 5 days. So bye. I'm about to go do my thing. So it's kind of like that give and take, making sure he gets that self-care time, making sure he gets time away from the kids so that you won't feel guilty. But it's not all about so you won't feel guilty. Really, what this is about is how we can turn our guilt into gratitude. But let's continue to go through why we feel guilty. So why we feel guilty, number 3, uh, taking time for ourselves, just simply taking time for ourselves. We feel guilty about that. And I know it's real easy for my husband to go lay down and I'm downstairs with the kids. And I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying his guilt isn't like mine. That's all I'm saying. And the times where I might go upstairs and he's downstairs with the kids and I lay down, that guilt is over me. I'm just like, why am I laying down when I should be washing the dishes or cleaning the house or getting the kids in the bath? But then I'm like laying down and resting. I'm like, ooh, I shouldn't do this. But I have to remind myself, no, it is okay to lay down and rest because when I rest, I feel more rejuvenated. But that is another reason why we might feel guilty, just simply taking time for ourselves. And when we don't get those times, that's where the isolation kicks in. That's where more stress kicks in, more irritability, and of course, worsening your anxiety or worsening the depression that you may struggle with. So, number 4, struggling to be perfect. And this is where comparing to like other moms, like you look at some other moms on Instagram, they just got it all together and they organized and they just teaching their kids all the ABCs. Their 2-year-old know how to write his name. And then you just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? I know I have asked myself, like I say, even as a child psychiatrist, sometimes I feel like, oops, am I, not doing the right thing for my kids? Why am I not doing this strategy? Should I be doing that? Even just today, I am going through some articles that I need to read for my board recertification. And one of the articles was on screen time. So, of course, it was saying how you have to limit the amount of screen time for your kids. And it was saying that kids under 18 months should not have any screen time. And kids between 18 months and 5 years of age, 5 should only have 1 hour of screen time. And those after 5, of course, you continue to limit it, but make sure it's only educational programs. I'm a child psychiatrist. You think I listen to that? What is he? He's 22 months. And then my 4-year-old. So they're before 5. So they should only have 1 hour of screen time. Oopsie, they definitely get more than that. But then that sometimes that guilt comes in because you're not being perfect and you're not doing the right thing according to the standards. I mean, you can adjust, right? And I mean, sometimes that's just what works. When we had that 7-hour road trip to New Orleans, I tried to limit as much screen time as possible, but you kind of do what works and you give yourself grace. Of course, there had been times where I think we all have times where the baby has fallen because you kind of turn away real quick and kids are fast. They fell off the bed. My baby, it's not even why am I laughing because that's what I do. My default is to laugh. I caught him. He didn't hit the floor, But ooh, I remember the guilt I had. I'm like, oh my God, my baby, it's my fault, So that kind of guilt you can give yourself when you're like not being perfect, not being the best mom, or not being the best wife. But we need to chill on that, because if you continue to feel like you're not doing the right thing, then there's that inadequate, that failure, that negative talk. I'm such a bad wife. I'm such a bad mother. Woe is me. And then what? You're just going to continue to go down that mental drain. It's a slippery slope. So giving yourself grace and practicing gratitude, we'll get into those steps in a minute, are very important. So the last and final, why we are guilty. Number 5, financial or work related decisions, especially if you're the breadwinner of your family. You might feel guilty because you're trying to work and bring in the money, and therefore maybe you're away from your family and you're not spending time with them. So those that's also reasons that you might feel guilt. Not spending enough time with your family, not spending enough time, or bringing in enough money. So there's definitely different reasons to feel guilty. And we just got to get rid of that. And it's not easy. It's obviously not a quick overnight thing that you're just going to get rid of that guilt. But try to listen to these strategies that might be able to help you change your guilt into gratefulness. Let's just flip that script on I'm just not enough. Because if you feel like you're continually not doing enough, then you're continually going to feel burnt out as a mom and burnt out as a wife and just trying to do more and more and more and more. And then you're not doing anything for yourself and you're not getting that self-care that you need. So instead of saying, I didn't do enough, well, what did you do? First of all, the positive affirmation is to say, I am enough. I did do enough. I am an amazing mom. Say that to yourself. And you did do a lot. You did. So who's to say you got to complete that whole list? And what is the reason why you feeling like you got to do more? The kids are okay. They're alive. It's all right. So flipping the script, instead of what do I need to do? What didn't I do? What did I do? That's the gratitude. Gratitude is showing that there's no need, that you already have. Feeling that there's not enough creates a feeling of inadequacy, a feeling of this void, a feeling that there's something that you need to feel. But gratitude, it's already there. You're already full. Just last weekend, I was at a brunch with friends. It was called Brunch with Friends, Friendsgiving, I think. Sonia Booker. And one of the speakers was talking about how you don't need anything. If you feel like you need something, it is because you're lacking something. So change that to what you want. And if you want something, you have more power in that, as opposed to saying you need something, because need makes it seem like there's something that you lack. And so the same with your mom and wife guilt. Instead of saying I'm not enough, there's something more that I need to be doing. It's a matter of the gratefulness of what you are doing already. What did you accomplish on your list today? And be happy about that, and prioritize for the next day what else you need to accomplish. And it's okay if you don't accomplish everything on your list. And it is okay for you to rest. That's number 2 of our practical strategy of how to change from guilt to gratitude, is reclaim your rest as a right. So me saying that I might go upstairs and lay down and I feel guilty, like, oh, should I be laying down? Because I honestly feel like a lot of times where I can't even rest until everybody's asleep. And even then, I stay awake thinking and planning and doing things. I'm like, oh, finally, they're all asleep. So, but it's okay for you to rest, because as I say many times on this podcast, when you are rested and you are taking care of yourself, it means that you are now rejuvenated to be able to take care of them and to be the best wife that you can be and to be the best mom that you can be. And whatever else you're not is okay. So rest is very important for you. And those many aren't sitting here watching this live because they are busy preparing for tomorrow and multitasking and doing all those things. But make sure you take the time to reset. Multitasking, That is something to be proud of, honestly, because I think we are the biggest multitaskers ever, where we could just do multiple things. And I have to sit back and I'm like, even if my husband don't notice, I'm like, I notice it. And I notice I'm doing a great job multitasking. And I love those reels where they show the dad slash husband who, when he's sick, he barely sick, right? Stuffy nose, and he's like laid out, can't do nothing, just got a stuffy nose. And then the mom and wife, they got 105 fever. They're doing everything, taking care of the kids, taking care of the husband, taking care of work, don't even take off. We're strong. We are multitaskers. And so there's usually always something that you are doing well. So pat yourself on your back, give yourself that credit, and turn mistakes into lessons, because it is okay to make mistakes because you are not perfect. What kind of lesson can you get from a mistake that you have made as a mom, as a wife? Maybe it's a way to recognize, ooh, I can grow in this area. How can I change? Give yourself grace and don't feel pressured to get to that goal so quickly. It takes time. Yeah, make it a way for you to self-reflect, to increase your self-awareness. That's where journaling comes in at. So whatever mistakes you may have made, it is okay. And tell yourself it is okay. Because if nobody else is telling you that, you need to tell yourself that. And there's always a lesson in the mistakes that you may have made. But obviously, mistakes are a reason why we might make ourselves feel guilty, or we might say, ooh, that's my fault. I shouldn't have done that. But there is a reason for your mistake, and you don't want to repeat it. So, how can you not repeat it? Let's move forward. Let's not dwell in the past. Number 4, redefine your to-do list and let go of unrealistic expectations. Our guilt is because maybe our list is way too long. What are our priorities? What do we feel like we need to do and why? It's because we're comparing. It's because it's some type of societal standard of what we should meet. Is it because the American Academy of Pediatrics says your child should only have 1 hour of screen time and you feel like you should do that too? I'm not saying go against it. I'm just saying don't feel guilty if you're one of the moms like me that is giving your child more than an hour of screen time a day. Hey, I'll strive for it, but hey, I'm not going to make myself feel guilty about that. And we give ourselves unrealistic expectations sometimes. And just the difference between having my toddler when he was a baby and then my baby who's a baby. Legend in Egypt. I'll just say their names, of course. People know their names. Between Legend and Egypt. When Legend was a baby, my expectation was when I went out, I had to have the Clorox wipes. I had to have him make sure he had a bib. We went to a restaurant. He had the covering for the table. When we went to the grocery stores, he had the covering for the basket. He had no germs. He was like living in a bubble. But then I reduced, not that that was unrealistic, but I reduced those expectations when it came to Egypt. A lot of people do that. A lot of moms do that when it comes to their second child. And there's no guilt with that. So sometimes changing your expectations about what you should do and what you should be as a mom is important to reduce your guilt. I say as a mom, not as a wife, because I feel like, well, it depends. I mean, it depends on what unrealistic expectation you might have in your marriage, but continue to cultivate what expectations your husband might have. And if you feel like his expectations are unrealistic, obviously have that communication and talk with him, because you want to be able to communicate and understand your husband's needs so that you all continue to strive and have a powerful, impactful marriage. So sometimes there's some expectations that you don't want to reduce if he's expecting those things, whatever it may be. Number 5, thank yourself daily. Woo! Have you ever thanked yourself? That's along the category of self-love, self-compassion, self-grace. Thank you. At the end of the Peloton, I think it's Jess Sims, at the end of her boot camps, she says, thank your body. Say, thank you, body. So at the end, I'm always just like, thank you, body. Thank you for allowing me to be able to work out and to walk through life. Thank yourself. Thank yourself for doing a good job. Recognize that you are doing a great job and not think about what you're not doing, but think about what you are doing and what you are capable of because joy and gratitude goes a long way. And speaking of joy, finding joy in that imperfection that you feel like you're not doing perfectly. Love the messes, the disorganization. When I Oh, yeah, okay, this is an example. We just put up the Christmas decorations this weekend. Oh my goodness. Like, we've had the same Christmas color decorations for the past, 5 years. I know people have different themes. Like, "Oh, I'm gonna do purple and gold this year. I'm gonna do blue and silver this year." We had the same green, gold, and red bulbs, and I just throw them up on the tree. In fact, I let the toddler and baby throw them up on the tree. That tree is looking crazy, but I'm just like, "Yay, it's imperfect. Ooh, this is great." 'Cause why? Why does it have to be perfect? So that's just a simple example of why do things have to be perfect? Let it go. Just throw it up on the tree. Number 7, strengthen your relationship with your spouse. So that's important. That's important. I even did a reel last week about why I am no longer prioritizing my kids over my husband. Because, first of all, if you're religious, God comes first, and then your spouse, and then your kids. So you should always be prioritizing your spouse over your kids. Kids need you. Make sure they okay. Make sure they fed. Make sure they educated. Make sure they got all those things. But you really should make sure you give time for your spouse. And in return, you would get what you need. So inspiring him and giving him gratitude, giving him positive affirmations, build your man up because you will reap the benefits. Put in that deposit so that you can withdraw it later. Trust me, it works and definitely reduces the guilt. Like I said, if I let him go, I go do that self-care trip, go do that thing. And then that definitely reduces my guilt because then it's like, yay, my turn. I get to do my self-care. But practicing gratitude as a self-care is really important. Even just the more writing the journal, writing the journal has been helpful for me. I'm learning from what I've written. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, gratitude, right? Because I do research and I put all the information in the journal. And I'm just like, I need to be practicing what I preach. So I've been practicing gratitude so much more. And it's definitely just very important to just look at the um the light side of life, the silver lining. Cuz I found myself this morning just thinking about the week and all the challenges and I started to tear up and I'm just like, "Oh, this is so bad. What's going on?" And I had to take a step back. I'm like, "Wait, why am I tearing up?" And I realized my mind had mentally went down a slippery slope to selling the house. What? I'm like, "Wait, we're not selling the house. How did I even get that far?" So I came back and I says, "The only problem is that we're having homeowner issues. We're getting gonna get fixed." So I had to come back out of that hole that I dug and reassure myself, "These things are getting fixed. You're not selling the house." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I immediately felt better. Watch where your mind goes because your mind can go from the most simplest thing to a really permanent thing. And then you're all sad and you're can't even come back out of it because you depressed. So I had to catch myself. And that made me feel better. I'm just like, it's okay. It's okay. There's a lot that we have. So say that to yourself, be grateful, use positive affirmations, have joy. I hope you all have a very happy Thanksgiving and practice gratitude as self-care because that is important and it takes you a long way to reduce your stress and increase your joy. Thank you. This has been an Enjoy Life production. If you're in a crisis, don't hesitate. Call, text, or chat 988 for immediate support. Please note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional treatment. If you're looking for therapy or medication management through Enjoy Life, visit www.drenjoylife.com to request a consultation. I accept Aetna for Georgia residents, and out-of-pocket services are available for others. I'm licensed in Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Tennessee, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, Illinois, Virginia, and Minnesota. Be sure to grab your copy of the Enjoyno on Amazon for $39.08 to help you on your wellness journey. And remember, Journey to Joy Live is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, may you continue to transform challenges into joy.